I wanted to give up on this dresser before I even started on it. I picked it up for $15 from Facebook Marketplace, but then I realized it wasn't the best quality and I wasn't sure I would get much for selling it. Then I thought, to save money, I just need to use what I have lying around and make more than $15, so I got started. I'm using Crud Cutter. It's an awesome degreaser to start cleaning this dresser. But before I keep going, let me introduce myself. My name is Kara from Kara's Living Space and I refinish furniture for a living. I'm a mother of 5 kids and I refinish furniture from home to help pay bills for our family. I love that I can work from my garage because if my kids need me, I'm not far. And I get to be creative and share my before and afters with you. Okay, that's enough about me. Let's get back to this dresser. That bucket is just full of soapy water that I'm using to rinse off the Crud Cutter. Now I'm pulling out the drawers and I label them so I remember which drawer goes where. That's TL for top left. This one is 2L for second left drawer, then 3L for third left. Drawers might all look the same, but they all fit a little differently, so don't skip that step. Now I'm using my Bondo Glades and Spot Putty to fill in any small dents or grooves that I find over the dresser. I love this putty. It goes on so smoothly and it lasts forever. I'm using my Ryobi Orbital Sander to sand everything down. It's just a light scuff sand. I'm using 120 grit sandpaper. 120 grit sandpaper works perfectly for me to get rid of the shine or top coat on furniture. You don't have to sand all the stain away. As long as you sand the shiny top coat off, your furniture is ready for the next step, which is priming. Now I'm repeating the same steps with the drawers, making sure I get all the edges as well. Most of the time I don't keep the same hardware on my furniture. I replace it with something a little more updated, but I always keep it because you never know, I could repurpose it and paint it a different color for another project. I also could just need the screws. Part of this drawer is missing, so I'm going to use some Bondo to fill it in. I'm using Bondo Body Filler and the white tube as a hardener. I mix those together to create a rock solid filler. First I'm going to put painter's tape on the edge to make a mold. Now I mix the Bondo. First I get the gray cream out and then the blue cream and the white tube is the hardener. You only need a little bit of that, and when you mix it you've got to do it quickly because it dries fast. Then quickly spread it to fill in the hole and leave it, and it should be ready completely dry within 15 minutes. Now it's back to sanding. Some places are hard to reach with my orbital sander, so I'm just hand sanding using 120 grit, getting into those edges that are a bit tricky. I noticed this top corner was loose, so I needed to fix that. I grabbed my Gorilla Wood glue, I love this glue, and a popsicle stick, so I just stuck it in there, wriggled it around a bit to get some glue, then I stuck it in the gap and made sure that I got that glue right inside. I wiped the extra glue off and then I put this clamp on to make sure that I kept the top drawer tight while it dried. I added just a few extra weights to make sure that it was secure, and a few hours later I took all the weights off. So doing a bit of multitasking and getting my weightlifting in too, guys. And just lightly sanding over that area just in case any extra glue squeezed out, and making sure it's nice and smooth. There are some parts like this corner that I over sanded, so just to be extra cautious, I'm using the Shellac Clear Spray. That's just going to make sure it's waterproof and it's covered before I put extra primer to double protect it. This is also Shellac Primer by Zinsser, and I love this stuff. Zinsser Shellac Primer is more expensive, but it's worth it to me because I've never had any problems with it when I do the scratch test. And if you don't know what the scratch test is after you've sprayed your primer, you wait till it dries and then you run your finger and scratch it. If you can scratch through it, it means that you need to re-sand and prime again. But whenever I use Shellac Primer, I always pass the scratch test. Don't ever skip this next step. This gives you that professional smooth finish. I am using a sanding pad to lightly sand between the primer and the paint. Now that's done, let's get painting. I decided to use Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane paint in the color Accessible Beige. Neutral colors like this sell well in my area. I noticed a big gap in the top of the dresser that I wanted to fill in, so I'm using my DAP cork gun, which is perfect for painting projects, to fill in that gap. Then I always keep some baby wipes on hand to wipe everything off. Now it's nice and smooth and dry, it's ready to paint. I'm using the Wagner 5000 Flexio spray gun. I love how light it is because the motor is attached to this hose, so you're not having to carry a heavy motor, and it sprays so fast. I know it seems intimidating to use a spray gun, but there's only 2 switches that you really need to figure out, and it saves you so much time in the long run. I think it's just worth the investment if you're trying to sell furniture faster. Plus, you can't beat the professional look of a spray painted piece of furniture. So I've sprayed 2 coats of paint on this dresser, and then I noticed some little dents here and here that would look way better if I filled them in. So the next coat of paint will make it really nice and smooth. Here's some more, so I just kind of filled them in, if you can see. Yeah, that's better. And I used this wood filler. You can't see it now, but it's Good Filler wood filler. And this is the color White Oak. It's a little bit dry, but I still managed to get a lot out. And so now I'm gonna go over with the 3rd coat, and this will look nice and smooth. I'm spraying my 3rd and final coat of paint, guys. When I use Sherwin-Williams urethane enamel paint, it has a top coat included in it, so I always do 3 coats of paint, and I feel really good about it. I love Sherwin-Williams enamel paint. It has really good coverage and dries hard in 30 days. Now the paint is dry, it's time to put on the drawer liners. I'm using peel and stick wallpaper from Amazon. I picked this wallpaper because it's nice and light, a perfect neutral color to go with my beige dresser. I measure, then cut out the peel and stick wallpaper, and I like to peel the whole backing off and then just lightly press the peel and stick wallpaper from the middle into the drawer. And then I just spread my hands out from the middle. I make sure to press all the edges down, especially the corners, so when I use my blade, it gets a nice crisp corner cut. I'm using a box knife to cut my edges. These are really affordable, and this one came with extra blades, so this should last me a long time. I think putting on the hardware might be my favorite part of refinishing furniture. It's like putting the jewelry on at the very end of getting ready. It just looks so beautiful. I know that I'm almost done, and it just adds that pop to the dresser. Here's a reminder of what this $15 dresser looked like before. And after a little TLC, this is how the dresser turned out. It's in no way perfect, but it was perfect enough for a customer to love and buy it within a few days. I spent $39 and sold this dresser for $300 within a few days, making a profit of $261. I'm really happy I didn't give up on this dresser before I started. It's not a huge profit, but it's a profit, and that can buy groceries or pay a water bill. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to Kara's Living Space.